Sunshine, dry weather continues. This is Hoosier Ag Today and the morning podcast on the 20th of July, 2021. Good morning, I'm Andy Eubank, and we have the latest Indiana farm news. Eric Pfeiffer has that coming up shortly. Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with the Indiana Farm Forecast, and it is sunny and dry for another few days. And a look at the Monday markets. And soybeans had a rough day, as did some of the other markets like equities and crude oil. Market analysis with John Zanker and all the numbers. And coming up in the news, meet another master farmer. The news begins right now here on HAT.
Soil health dominated the discussion at this year's Master Farmer event, and Indiana's crops continue to rate better than the national average. I'm Eric Pfeiffer, reporting on the latest news in agriculture on Hoosier Ag Today. Soil health practices like no-till and using cover crops were a major discussion point at this year's Master Farmer event held earlier this month. Soil health is a passion for new Master Farmer Cameron Mills from Walton in Cass County.
We are blessed to be just temporary, we'll call it tenants of a limited resource, which is the soil. And so while we're here, we need to take care of it the best we can and leave it better than we found it. And knowing that, we're just a small little piece of time here that we get to influence our will on it. But we need to leave it for the next generation better than we found it.
Mills has been employing soil health practices on his farm since he took it over in the late 90s.
So when we started farming, we switched the farm over to no-till and then quickly there into cover crops, and we try to cover crop every acre every year. And then we've also worked on getting more diversity in our cash crops. So we raise corn, soybeans, wheat, triticale, and grain sorghum. And our goal is to continually try to find new cash crops and to bring into operation because I think just doing a monoculture cash crop just really isn't as beneficial for our soil as what maybe we think it is.
Mills says farming has become so advanced since he first started.
When I started farming, we knew what we were doing, but now it's a big business, and I consider us very blessed and lucky to get to where we have without screwing up too much, or at least to be able to weather those screw ups. And so as time goes on, we find that things are more globally tied. I mean, markets, things happen so much faster. When we started farming, you couldn't hardly screw up marketing. And today it's a huge business that we really got to watch out for and be better at every day.
Cameron and his wife, Kara, said it's humbling to be considered in that elite group of farmers. The Master Farmer event is sponsored annually by Indiana Prairie Farmer and the Purdue University College of Agriculture.
Mark your calendar for December 14 through 16 to attend the Indiana Farm Equipment and Technology Expo. Hey, it may be the first indoor farm show you get to attend in 2021. Exhibitors, space reservations are now open, so get your contracted details at indianafarmexpo.com. And remember, the show has a new location, the Grand Park facility in Westfield, Indiana. The Indiana Farm Equipment and Technology Expo, December 14 through 16.
In the latest crop progress report from USDA, Indiana corn is rated 73% good to excellent, the same as last week. Corn progressed well last week as both dough and silking progress remained ahead of their respective 5-year averages. Indiana soybeans dropped a percentage point from 70% good to excellent last week to 69% this week. Indiana crops continue to rate better than the national average. Nationally, corn is rated 65% good to excellent, and soybeans are at 60%. According to Nathaniel Warinsky, USDA NASS state statistician in the Indiana field office, wheat harvest fell slightly behind due to rain showers last week. 88% of Indiana's winter wheat is harvested compared to the 5-year average of 93%. You can read more on this at HoosierAgToday.com. And be sure to attend the Indiana Corn Growers Association and Indiana Soybean Alliance Ag Policy Summit coming up on July 27th at the Hendricks County Fairgrounds in Danville, Indiana. More information and a link to register is available at HoosierAgToday.com. I'm Eric Pfeiffer, Hoosier Ag Today, Indiana's Farm Network.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin with Hoosier Ag Today's Indiana Farm Forecast, brought to you by Seed Genetics Direct, the largest Ohio-based independent seed company and the Eastern Corn Belt's fastest-growing independent seed company. Visit seedgeneticsdirect.com for more information. No changes to our forecast here this morning. We've got dry weather everywhere for your Tuesday. Plenty of sunshine, a pretty nice setup overall. As we move forward, we are mostly dry in the state through tomorrow and Thursday as well, although I won't rule out the odd sprinkle or maybe a pop-up shower in southern Indiana tomorrow, I-70 southward. I really think the threat is minor, but we'll just throw it out there for you, all right? But we're mostly dry through Thursday. On Friday, we see our first round of rain trying to sneak into the state, coming down from the north. If you recall, we've talked about a big upper-level ridge in play over the Great Plains up into the Canadian prairies. Any system that tries to move west to east goes up over the top of that ridge and then kind of slides down into the east on the backside of the ridge here into the Great Lakes and eastern Corn Belt. We'll see a little bit of that moisture coming through like that on Friday, waking up to scattered showers in northern Indiana, northeast Indiana Friday morning, and then seeing it kind of filter down through the rest of the state through the day. 60-70% coverage is what I'm looking at right now, half an inch or less out of that. We are dry pretty much everywhere on Saturday. Very humid, of course, but dry. And then we see another batch of moisture coming in for Sunday. I'm thinking 3/4 of an inch or less here with about 80% coverage through the day on Sunday. Behind that, we go dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Temperatures warming up. We're going to be pretty hot, rather humid overall, but no moisture, no new moisture at least. And then as we go through the Thursday time frame, I think we have to keep an eye out for a few hit and miss scattered showers. The way things are coming right now, looks like we're probably 50-60% coverage, but the threat of stronger thunderstorms does exist in that next Thursday window. So we'll be keeping an eye on that going forward. That's the way things are stacking up. No major oppressive heat here, but with the humidity, it's just going to feel kind of nasty for the next 10 days, to be clear. That's a look at your forecast update. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Mixed markets on a tough day for the equities and commodities. This is Who's Your Ag Today and the Monday Closing Farm Market Report, brought to you by Co-Alliance Cooperative, your local agriculture and energy partner for nearly a century. The soybean market struggled on Monday. I'm Andy Eubank. We have numbers coming up. First, market analysis, and I got that right at the end of trade from John Zanker at Risk Management Commodities. John, rough day to start the week, even with a promising Monday morning overnight session, everything up, but that all changed as we looked at 900-point losses in the Dow, $5 lower crude oil. COVID fears regenerating, basically, and it did trickle over, it would appear, into the ag markets, although wheat held strong.
Yes, we've had a rough few Mondays in a row, it seems like, Andy. Most of them have been due to a sharp flip in the forecast over the weekend, but we did not see that flip this weekend. We have some very hot temperatures in store for the Dakotas in particular. Some models putting in some 105 to 100 degree high temperatures in North Dakota in particular. So that got the overnight market excited. We saw that carry over early morning, but the big losses in the Dow and crude oil in particular are certainly taking a toll.
We do talk about those particular markets from time to time, and on a day like Monday, it's hard to ignore the effect it does have on other markets.
Well, what we found out during the COVID was we're still going to have some pretty strong demand for foodstuffs. People keep eating, and it's one of those days where it's just hard for the markets to totally ignore some major happenings in those outside markets. $5 move in crude's a pretty big deal, and it's happening without a stronger dollar. The dollar is it's a little stronger, but it's mildly higher. Nothing significant there. Interest rates moving a little bit lower, so kind of an odd morning, and we'll see how things turn out tomorrow, I guess. But this weather is not pointing toward higher yields happening in the Dakotas, that's for sure.
Let's talk a little bit more about the weather, which has been very supportive here in the last several days, continues into the new week. Very hot and dry and some extended forecasts. And given everything in the outside world being normal, the weather itself, would it have been enough to boost the corn and bean markets?
Yes. Really not much rain in the forecast for that northwestern Corn Belt through the 16th day. So that takes us into that first week of August. And even as you move to the east, not a lot of rain in the forecast, and that might be a blessing in certainly some parts of Illinois that have gotten too much rain. Temperatures aren't expected to be oppressive or even close to it here in Indiana. So 10 days to 2 weeks of dryness and sunshine, I don't think that's going to hurt things. But the focus remains on what's going on in the northern plains and Canada. Canada's drought's being labeled as maybe their worst in history by some folks right now.
As I mentioned earlier, the wheat market was able to stand in, and it took the lead late last week. That is continuing. What's happening with wheat?
Well, with the temperatures that we're going to see, of course, that spring wheat crop's in its late stages, and it's pretty well done. I mean, there's just going to be we're going to see the worst yield since 1988 in North Dakota, South Dakota, well, spring wheat in general. And, of course, for those of us that have been around a while, 1988 was a brutal drought, even worse than in 2012 in some respects. So, and that situation is just not getting better, and that extends well up into Canada. And that's going to have some repercussions in the export market for months to come. And, we're keeping a very close eye on that July 22 contract that's sitting right there at $7 right now, Andy. So good forward pricing opportunities setting up in that in the wheat.
John Zanker at Risk Management Commodities. Call John at 866-837-9027. Now, the Monday settlements right at flat on September corn, $5.56 unchanged, and up just a quarter cent December and March. East goes to $5.52 1/4, March $5.59 3/4. The weakness, though, in the beans, August 14.28, 26 3/4 lower, and November 19 down at 13.72 3/4. Up a nickel, September wheat 6.97 3/4. We did have a mixed day in the end in the cattle and hog markets, with some of the live cattle contracts turning around and going higher. August, the front month, for example, up 7 cents, 120.25. 50 cents down on the October. August lean hogs 104.47 down 117. I'm Andy Eubank with the Monday Market Review. This is Who's Your Ag Today, Indiana's leading farm network.